right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Doomcast number 68. It's the 29th day? Oh wow, the month's almost over of November. We're going to call this the Ferguson Riot / Thanksgiving edition. My name is Charlie McGrath. My website's wideawakenews.com. My co-founder and co-host is Doug Owen, blacklistednews.com. And you are listening to the 68th edition of Doomcast, again on this 29th day of November 2014. We are recording this on Saturday evening. And Doug just pointed out to me that we have no one in the chat room, and I told him it's because it's Saturday evening,
right?
And we don't ever do this on Saturday, Doug. Sundays we've done a few.
Yeah, we've done a few. I don't think ever Saturday night. This is what we tried to avoid at all costs, doing a show tonight. But not that we have really exciting night lives. I was invited to go to a CD release party, but I don't even know if that's a big deal anymore.
They still make CDs? I thought it was.
That's what I was thinking when my buddy said that. He's like, "Yeah, man, it's great. It's a good band, and they have CDs." I was like, "Really? A CD release?" I'm surprised they're not releasing it on Spotify or on iTunes. Or with Google or Microsoft or something.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, I guess I could see. No, I was gonna say I could see making a CD if you were gonna send out like an audition CD. But that probably wouldn't even get listened to. You could still just email a file of your music. I think CDs are. It's like an iPod. They're the thing of the past. Nobody has an iPod anymore. If they have a smartphone, they don't have an iPod. I've got 3 iPods, Doug Owen.
Really?
And I don't use any of them. I've got one of the old school. What is it? 180 gig. The bigger with the little. The big old chunky ones. And I'll still take that with me on occasion.
With the big thumb wheel.
Yeah, the big thumb wheel. I'll take it on flights with me because. With all that memory, I have 25 or 30 movies downloaded onto it, so I can watch movies while I'm flying on it. But it's to the point I can do that on my phone now too. So the smartphone is killing iPods. I think anyway. I rarely see. I go to the gym fairly often. 3 or 4 times a week, and it used to be the people with the little iPod Nanos on their arm or the little clippy one that goes onto their workout gear. But now everybody's just using their smartphone. Their iPhone or their Samsung. Yeah,
it's really, it's funny because over the Thanksgiving weekend, I was talking with...
which we're in the middle of right now.
Yeah. This was on the day thereof. It's kind of the whole weekend, or the whole week seems like a weekend since I've got a few days off, which I'm very appreciative for. I'm very thankful for. But my wife's aunt was talking about wanting to get a Galaxy or some other phone. It was because of the pictures. So really, it's not that we have smartphones. We have cameras that just happen to be able to call people and text images, because that's the way I think a lot of people look at, the cell phones of today. It's just, who has a digital camera? I guess people do. My dad has a really nice Canon camera. It's kind of above and beyond.
I have what the heck was it? The flip cam that was Cisco's product, and it's still, they still update the software on it, but it isn't made anymore. It's a great camera, but and I have another nice, I don't even know the brand of it, a Sony Handycam and another digital camera, and honestly, I don't. If I go somewhere, I just grab my phone because it can do anything that those other devices can do, and the quality of it's just as good. So, and I have a Samsung Galaxy 5, so yeah, it's I don't know. Everything's getting down to where everything needs like a Swiss Army phone. Everything's on that phone, and you're right. I think for what kind of phone do you have? You have the same thing, don't you?
I got a model back.
4, okay, yeah, and I'm sure maybe because you're more computer savvy, you might use all the features that are available on your smartphone. But I'm finding stuff on here every single day that I didn't know it could do, and all the different apps and all the different things that can be done with this phone. It's pretty incredible.
Yeah, it's a little computer. Yeah, I like the phone, but I'll be honest, I don't like the invasiveness. I don't like that anytime you want to use an app, period, I don't care what it is, it seems to want your contact list and to be able to contact your contacts. You download a game and it's like, we'd like to be able to send text. We'd like to get into your Twitter account. We'd like to post for you or as you on Facebook. And it's like, I'm just delete.
And that's why
delete.
You end up with, how many Facebook requests do you get a day to go play some game? And that's what happened. Somebody didn't say no when they were asked that question if they could hit your contact list up. So they don't hit no. They just blast through whatever the app asks them to do. And then next thing I know, I'm getting 40 requests a day to go play, online poker or some other stupid game via Facebook. I hate Facebook, by the way. I don't know if I've ever told you that.
I rarely check in, and it's funny, and I've mentioned it before, that people, kind of get upset and they think that you're tuned in and that you've got it running on your phone. And I just put up an article today on blacklistednews.com showing how Facebook can actually contact other people for you. Let me say Facebook. But, I mean, it's just, so-called counterterror fusion centers in Massachusetts monitored the Black Lives Matter protesters through their Facebook accounts. Facebook can gain direct access to your mobile and take pictures or make videos at any time. Think about this. I mean, it's actually just recording you and your family, or maybe even, stealing pictures. So sure. I never go on Facebook on my phone.
I don't either. We have.
I'm ready to throw this thing in the trash. The more you talk about it, the more I hate this thing, to be quite honest.
You talk about your phone, or you talking about Facebook?
Yeah. I would like to just disconnect it from cellular service and just use it as a Wi-Fi device. And that would probably, if it wasn't for my day job, that would be what I would do, just to completely get this thing.
But when you get home, you drop you don't have cellular connect. It automatically connects to your Wi-Fi, correct?
Yeah, but still, I mean, it's just one more thing that you keep that ends up kind of owning you. And
smart TVs are the same way. We just picked up a new TV, and it's a smart TV, and I'm scared to death of it.
Yeah. Well, does it have a camera in it? Can it watch you? Does it have all sorts of features that allow it to do all sorts of things on your behalf? And is it keeping a dossier of everything that you're watching? Because I would think that they think I'm really into cooking shows and watching reality TV and other things that my wife, will put on. So it's kind of funny because, I don't know how much value they get out of the information, because I watch it so little. And I mean, most of the profiling is for, selling you products. And and you know that, anybody listening knows that. If you go to a gun accessory website, if you went there tonight to look for magazines or muzzle brakes or anything like that, and that's something, I picked something that's a little bit obscure. Most people are not going to be out, just shopping for a trigger guard for their AR-15 or, new handle or something like that. But if you went and did a search on Google for that, and you went to a site and you looked at something, let's say you went to JP Industries and looked at their flash suppressors. Well, this is how the tracking works. Because for the next month, every time you get online and you go to somewhere with the Google ads, that's going to be what you're looking at. They're going to just pump all that stuff at you because they're monitoring your behavior and what you're looking at, and they want that information because 90% of Google's revenue is from advertising. I know they're a giant corporation, they're buying up everything, but still the vast majority of their revenue is from advertising. So they're trying to get really, really smart about what they're going to put in front of you when you turn your computer on. Sure.
And the same thing goes for the smart TV. I mean, it's no different. I mean, I don't, I feel like I should cover it up with a blanket every night when I go to bed because I just don't know what
Kill your
doing.
TV, Charlie McGrath. Kill your TV.
Well, I basically have. I mean,
why did you buy a new one? Why do you need it? Why'd you get it?
Okay, well, the reason I got it is because my son had a TV in his room and it broke. So I gave him the dumb flat screen that was out in the living room, and I mounted that onto his wall so he could, have a TV and he didn't have to be stuck watching, the History Channel with me all the time. And then I went out and bought a new TV, and it's hard to find a TV that isn't a smart TV anymore. But what I really wanted on it was I'm getting rid of cable altogether, because and my kid showed me this. Anything that I want to see as far as a movie goes, I mean, I can get Netflix and watch it for $7 a month. And everything else that comes along with cable, I personally believe in a few years, Doug, you're not going to have to go through. Here we have to go through charter communication, and I have to pay $50 a month, and I have X number of channels, of which I'll watch half a dozen. But the days of having to buy this package, I think are going to come to an end, and the Ala Carte is going to come. That's if the world continues
on demand. I mean, most things are. I mean, most of the shows that people watch. I mean, some people do watch them live, but most of them, binge watch, which has its own issues because,
Yeah.
well, I mean, there's actual science now saying that it's pretty unhealthy for you to just watch, 15 hours of TV, but that's the way people consume it. They get it from Netflix. I mean, live events. We were talking about football, some of the other things that you can, watch
sports
now.
Sports is the big thing that it's probably kept us hanging on because we do like to watch sports. And
if you don't have it, it's really hard. I mean, I like to watch sports, but I'm not going to pay for it, so I have a lot of issues because if your team's not ranked or you're just not privy, then so much of it's now on cable. I think even Monday Night Football is on ESPN. So
and you can go out and buy a digital antenna, and I believe you get 12 or 14 local channels.
I get 21 and the DoD channel. How about that? Yeah, I get
you're
government. We get government propaganda.
So on Sunday you're getting, if you were into pro, on Saturday you're probably getting, like you said, well, local. You're probably getting a lot of Texas football. On Sunday you're getting the same broadcast network football games that everybody else is getting on cable. Really, the only one you're not going to get is that Monday night and Thursday night, which hasn't been a good Thursday night game this year. They had to just get rid of that. But I'm not even sure. I think that's on.
I just don't watch it. I just don't care. I mean, I'm one of the people that if it's too inconvenient, I'm just going to lose interest. And that's what's happened with most of the sports and things, that the breads and circuses that I used to enjoy to kind of escape some of the crazy stuff that we might get into tonight before we talk about our Thanksgiving turkeys. But yeah, I mean, people end up being complete slaves to their products. I mean, case in point, Black Friday. Have you been watching any of this stuff?
God. Yeah.
This is what people will do for their smart TVs to get one at half price. It's a pretty tragic state of affairs that
it is. Absolutely. It absolutely is. And we talked about this last year, and I've done videos on it for the last four years plus, I think. Mm-hmm. It absolutely is disgusting. It's disgusting. And this year is supposed to be a record. What was it, $600 billion supposed to be spent?
That just amazes me. I mean,
yeah,
that much money, really?
Yeah, and people just beating the shit out of each other so they can get a deal on panties or a deal on lingerie at Walmart on this foreign-made crap. But they can buy it at 50, 60, 70% off. So they're just beating the hell out of each other in the store trying to get video. I mean, all day yesterday. I had to work yesterday. But I was
really.
Yeah, it was. Oh yeah. I volunteered because my son went to his mother's, and I didn't have any plans for Thanksgiving, and I didn't have any plans for Friday, so I went ahead and worked. And
how nice of you! Did you let somebody that has a family that wanted to get home get to their family?
His life. I saved his life first, and then I let him go home to.
That's very altruistic of you.
Yeah, well, I'm a giver. So anyway, the point is, it was dead. I mean, it was obviously super slow day after Thanksgiving, and I was just looking up some of these stories. Police having to peel a woman off a smart TV, and and all these seem to hinge. I mean, Target gets the most. Walmart gets the most juicy, fighting Black Friday stories of any of them. But I mean, it makes me sick, Owen. And I'm sure you don't go out. I certainly.
I love going out to Black Friday. That's what I plan on doing. I did something that's actually probably more mundane. I've been redoing the blacklistednews.com website
again.
Yeah. Well, we rebuilt the framework for it, so that's kind of geeky and boring, but. It's
over there. Well, I haven't been over there for a few days. I'm checking it out.
Check it out. The idea was that you shouldn't really notice it too much. That it should be pretty limited in the difference.
I see the bar at the top has changed a little bit.
Yeah, just a little bit.
I'm over the speaker now, and I don't know what that means. I mean, is there little drop downs? Can you tell me what that means?
What speaker?
Like a little bullhorn. The first one.
Click it.
Oh.
Don't be afraid. It can only blow up once.
Oh.
Yeah.
Blacklisted Radio. I'm going to heart you, Doug. I just hearted you.
Well, yeah, give us some donations. I need to do. I've got some other things that I'm gonna work into this bar. But yeah, scroll down, go down the page, and see it follows you around now.
I can email it out to people. Oh yeah, the bar's with me.
Follows you around, puts the logo up there.
Yes, it does.
So yeah, Yeah, there's
besides that, it doesn't look that much different.
No, I mean the framework is different. We're using this thing called Bootstrap, which is actually created by a social network. Twitter put together this CSS framework, which is a cascading style sheet, which is it's basically for websites. For any of you out there that actually care, it just basically has all of your fonts and all of your the specific design things that are referenced in one spot, so that when your browser goes to the website, it doesn't have to try to read as it goes. And once it reads that page, it knows how everything should act. It makes everything uniform. It's like a standard. It's like a regulation almost. So the idea here is that for all of those phones that we were talking about that probably bored some of you to death, that think that they're nothing less than evil, and I'm with you, this is designed for your slave phone. So it's supposed to always, no matter what size the page, always look the best for your device as possible. And so if you're, I mean, because let's be honest, how many people, you talked about how many people have, iPods. How many people are still using their home PC as the primary way to browse the internet?
Oh my God, I hate to say it, but I am. And I have the phone to do it.
Me too. I but because I could care less, and when I'm out and about, I'm doing other things usually. Yeah. But when I
had to go to the laundromat today, Doug, to wash some big stuff.
Right, the sleeping bags.
Yeah, well, yeah, my a comforter and stuff that I want to put in the whatever. And I have, this is the first time I've looked, and I thought I was going to bring my laptop and I forgot it. But so I use my phone, and it's the first time in a long time. I prefer the laptop. Maybe it's just because I'm getting older, and I don't like. I mean, even though the Galaxy 5 is a big screen, I mean, a fairly good sized screen, I just don't like reading it off my phone.
You know what's funny? My wife said, sometimes when the old blacklisted news would be too intimidating, when it was just a big, huge link list, it would look kind of like Drudge Report. Not that we copied Drudge Report. People were like, oh, this is just I hadn't even seen Drudge Report, and the fact that they've never changed that website is either A, impressive, or B, it's just people like chaotic websites. At least guys do. But my wife was, she looked at it and it was just this overwhelming mess. And she's like, I like looking at your website on the phone and reading it because it doesn't seem as intimidating. It's overwhelming. So it's interesting to see how different people react. I mean, I had a guy that sent me an email saying that he didn't like the take you back to the top button that appears once you start scrolling down the page. Right. But I probably had 500 requests for this thing because people really got tired of having to, once they got down the screen, scroll all the way back up because there's 100 articles there. And so it's minimally invasive, if anything. And when you look at the amount of other things that we've done, like, I don't know, like turned away probably a few $1,000s a month so that we don't pop up ads and we don't have other ads that chase you up the page and all the different things. I mean, go to the Daily Caller. The website has so many ads, it'll freaking melt your freaking computer down. It melts it goes into shock and almost blue screen. It asks me if I want to continue running scripts. Zero Hedge is one that I go to now, and it pops, like 5 or 6 banners. Not to disparage them, it's just become the norm. Go to Business Insider. You go there and you'll see an article, and they make you wait. And then you have to find.
They're all like that. I look at these news sites every day too, and they're all like that. It doesn't matter if if it's CNN or Business Insider or any of them now, and most of them will have a landing page that they send you to first. And you got to wait for the icon to pop up that says, skip, go to main page. Then you get to the main page, and you'll have a pop-up come up, and you have to X out of that. Then, as you're sitting there reading the article, all of a sudden it'll scroll down automatically, a half the page, and it'll start running an audio-video commercial that you can't mute, and you can't fast-forward, and you can't silent. And honestly, it makes me never want to go back to those sites again. That's my reaction to them. I absolutely hate that, because what should take you, 5 minutes to read an article, suddenly you're spending 5 minutes just trying to get to the article. And once you're there, like I do some of this at work. I don't need, an ad for Lincoln Town Cars popping up and running on my computer. when I'm just trying to, read 3 paragraphs of a story. It's completely frustrating and annoying.
Yeah. It's the same thing. So I go out of my way, and we don't get nearly the amount of revenue on that website that we could, because as a consumer of information and as a visitor of websites, I find it to be just the worst. The worst
Obnoxious.
of the worst. It's beyond obnoxious. It's
that's one nice thing about Drudge. You don't have that. I mean, you don't. I mean, it is old and chaotic, but they don't
pop the pop-ups. The pop-ups. That's where I break the that's where I have to break off and say no. And I did it for a month. And the guy that helps me with all of the coding and does the designing for the website, and actually did this cut over to the bootstrap.
Bootstrap bill.
The bootstrap. It was funny. He's like, "Oh yeah, man, Bootstrap's where you want to be." And I said, "Well, we just redesigned this thing a year ago. Why didn't you use Bootstrap?" And it was just like,
"Is it too new?"
No, it's just that he was like, "You didn't say you wanted Bootstrap." It's like
he just learned about it.
Yeah, maybe that was it. But nonetheless, I mean, the things that we do to kind of keep up with technology that even you, I, and most of the people out there, I hope, are on a just don't want to deal with. We deal with them because we do this so that we can reach out to others. And so the balance is to try to make it great for Luddites and people that are still on the computers like we are, and like to walk away from the phones. And then if you have a phone, it's much easier for you to read, and we understand that. We do not deny reality. The reality is that that's the way things are trending. It's like cell phones. I mean, I hate the idea that this thing knows everything about me, and it keeps every picture of my child, and God only knows who's getting it, where it's being sent. Because even if you don't want to do it, I mean, opting out of this thing, and I'm pretty tech savvy, is pretty hard, because it will just keep asking you until you finally accidentally say yes. It's like, do you want to give your location on this picture? No. Okay, fine. You don't have to do it, but we're not going to let you play Candy Crush unless you tell us where we're at. Like Fox Sports want to verify your location to make sure you're in the continental United States, wherever you're watching their stuff, because I guess some of the rules, some of the laws. I mean, if you look at the UFC, they are one of the biggest pushers and supporters of REID and the new revision of SOPA that's going into this national security FCC bill to give the net neutrality. Zuffa, the entertainment company owned by
that owns the UFC,
they are one of the biggest supporters, given upwards of millions of dollars, hundreds of thousands of dollars. I don't know if it's a million, but a lot of money support to the REID campaign. And I used to be somewhat supportive of the UFC and thought, well, I mean, what they're doing is great, but they don't get it. They're like so many of these other content creators that have just overwhelming success and millions of dollars being generated, and all of that in spite, and maybe even because of the fact that people pirate their streams. I won't pay them. I just won't pay them. Would I buy some of the swag? Would I support the show, the guys, and help out a lot more, I guess, by just being more in the scene? If I could get the UFC for less than $50 a shot, sure. If I didn't have to go to some scary website to watch it illegally, where God only knows what you might leave with. I mean, it's like going to a whore den in Amsterdam. You just never know what you're going to leave with when you go to one of those sites.
Sounds like a good idea until the next day.
Yeah, until the next day, and stuff's popping up all over the place, and your browser's hijacked. But now I won't support them. I just won't watch the fights anymore now that I've found out about this, because they don't get that people sharing your content, even if it is illegally, stealing it, is helping them out. And even with all of the illicit people watching it illegally, most people won't go to the extreme. And Dana, what's his last name? Dana White. have you seen? He's got like 3 Ferraris. The guy is a multi-millionaire, and it's like, my children are being robbed because pirates are downloading downloading the UFC, and it's like, what a piece of crap. I listened to him one time on the Joe Rogan podcast, and he said, it's not about the money. It's not about the money.
It's always
I could do without the money. And it's like, and Joe even said, that he goes, come on, man. Don't tell me it's not the money. You got a Ferrari, bro. You got a Ferrari, $200,000 car. It has everything to do with the money. So, scumbags. That's why I can't support most of the things I used to.
It's funny. I watched we were talking about binge watching here and how it's not good for you, but I've been watching just since I've been more Netflix and I have regular TV. I don't watch a lot of movies either, but they have a lot of great documentaries on there, and tons. And it's and I love documentaries. You can watch everything from animals to economic to whatever. But I did watch one about 3D printers, and I found it interesting that these companies, 3D printing's been around for a long time.
I watched the same one on Netflix. It's a great documentary. It's about that scummy guy that tried that. It was all about. Yeah, he was MakerBot CEO was all about open source. Until
he started selling 2,000 units a month, and he had 3 partners, and they all started in a garage. They wanted to be the next, Bill Gates, and they were all, chummy, holding hands, running this project together until it got big, kind of big, fairly big, and
big enough to cash out.
Yeah, big enough to make some dough on, and he was all open source, and it was all about the free exchange of information and ideas, and we're changing the world. And as soon as he got corporatized, as soon as Wall Street gets involved, their bankers get involved, it's all closed source, and he's they're breaking up the company.
What was the name of that? We should put that out.
MakerBot. Oh, it was Print
this. What was it?
Let me look it up here. Printer 3D printer documentary.
Print the Legend, I think is that.
That's it. Print the
Legend.
Print the Legend. Yeah, great documentary about the world of personal 3D printers. And if you ask me, the guys that got it going on was the ones that looked like they were going to fail in that, which was that Form Labs that uses the laser rather than just the plastic wheel. It uses the laser and resin to make 3D. There's 2 different ways you can do this. One is the printer that actually puts little pieces of plastic on there, and they could do that fairly inexpensively, or the laser technology, which literally cures the resin into the shape of whatever your program is, but a lot more resolution, a lot more detail in the laser one. But it's they're about $3,000 versus about $1,000 for the other type. But and it was very interesting because it goes to show you that people I think they just get sucked in. Dana White's sucked into the money. And that's not saying that the UFC...
Right, it used to be about, mixed martial arts and bringing this to the stage, and you listen to the guy, and you're like, man, that's inspirational. Right. You want to do all these things for this art, for furthering this new medium, this new, in my mind, the ultimate test of warriors in some kind of, sanctioned way. And
it seems like they say that when they're not making any money, because the UFC had years where they if it wasn't for investors dumping money into it, it would have went away. They were losing money hand over fist in the beginning. Sure. And of course, and just like MakerBot, when they start out and they're broke and they don't have 2 cents to rub together and they're trying to find investors, they're all about the altruistic goals, right? We're going to give this technology away. We're going to have it open source, blah, blah, blah. But, as soon as the almighty dollar's involved and, like I said, you start having finance individuals come into your board meetings, next thing you know, it's closed source and it's all about the money.
Yeah. Well, you start becoming dependent upon it. People have always asked and said, well, why don't you do this full time? Why don't you just, do Blacklisted News and do your podcast and, get the listeners to support it. And, I like the idea, and I'd love to be able to dedicate that much time and resources and, get into things a lot deeper than I've been able to lately. But, you're in that situation where you're now dependent upon advertisers or your listeners. And if we don't do the model like we're doing here, where we are completely supported by individuals, not by groups, not by some corporation that can be influenced because they heard you say shit, or they don't like my take on Judaism or whatever it may be. I mean, even if it's completely off kilter and the complaint is unjust, it doesn't matter. There's you can still get boycotted. Right. And so the only way that you can really get around that is to do what we're doing with this value for value model. If people enjoy the show, they support us, and if they want to hear more and want us to continue to do it and continue to bring this content forward, then they'll support it. That's the only way that you can really do it without going down that path. Because once you start selling things and you start advertising yourself and you start selling your listeners to corporations, I mean, that's what they do for the most part. Is they sell you to Burger King or to Bud Light or to whoever it is, your time, your attention to those products, and then they make you pay for it. So not only are you paying for it, then you have to watch advertising. I mean, it's like, no, I just won't do it. I don't care. I'm fine. I'll live without it. I'll go back to a flip phone if I have to. If this thing, asks me one more time for my Twitter handle, I'm not going to do it, man. Not going to do it.
I hear you, bro. I hear you. Nice rant. All right, I do want to. But
I was going to ask you, how was your Thanksgiving? What'd you end up doing?
I ended up going hunting in the morning and then came home and enjoyed some delicious soup. That was my Thanksgiving. My kid was with his mom's. My girlfriend's in Denver. And I was happy just to chill out and relax, to be honest with you. It was a nice, peaceful day. And, sometimes that's the best holiday dinner you can have, is just to chill out and relax and not be all stressed out trying to get halfway across the state in order to have dinner and then turn around and come back because I had to work the next morning. So I just chilled out. I didn't shoot anything hunting. I just went out for a little walk and came back, had some soup, watched some TV, watched that documentary on 3D printers. I also watched another one, and you need to put this on your list if you haven't seen it already. Team Kill, or the Kill Team. Kill Team, I think is. You know what? That's on Vudu. That's not on Netflix. I'm sorry.
I'll probably watch it on the internet. What do you have to do to get there? What's it about?
It's 2009 when. Do you remember the story of the squad, the killer squad, the Kill Team squad in Afghanistan? There was half a dozen soldiers. I think actually more than that. But this unit, this squad, was going out and killing Afghan civilians, and then dropping a grenade or dropping an AK and making it look like they were combatants.
Right.
And
vaguely, I do remember that, and I think that weren't they going to go to trial?
Oh yeah, they went to trial, and it's a story of the primary story is of this corporal who months and months before he was charged with anything, he was sending messages home to his dad and his mom that this crap was going on. They're killing people. They're murdering people over here. We have to do something. And he was threatened with his within his own unit. He was afraid for his life because the sergeant that was his squad leader, had talked to him about dropping a tow bar on him or dropping a weight on him or chopping him up and letting the wild dog packs eat him if he said anything. And eventually, but right before he was set months later to get out of Afghanistan, he was basically forced to participate in one of these kills. And like I said, these were the three murders that they were looking at here was a 15-year-old, a 20-year-old, and a 45-year-old. And in each case, they shot him for fun, for sport, and then either dropped a hand grenade and it went off, and they said that he threw it, or dropped an AK-47 next to him and said he had a gun and he was making a move toward us, and they lit him up. And it's unbelievable. And the way they break this down in this documentary, it shows you that this isn't isolated. I mean, these guys, in the case of this sergeant that was running this platoon, he'd been in Afghanistan already. He'd been to Iraq, and now he's back in Afghanistan. And he just was basically a psychopath. and I don't know if he was a psychopath before he went in or if it changed him, all those tours of duty in these combat areas. But he had tattoos on his leg, one for each kill, skull and bones, tattooed to his leg for each, all over his leg. So he'd killed 13, 14, 15 people. And then, when he gets back up in Afghanistan, he gets this unit that has been there for a while. And, these are hardcore infantry guys that are, they want that kill. They want that first kill so they can go home and say they killed somebody. And a lot of them just didn't give a crap if it was legitimate or not. And very, very, very troubling documentary. And to see, the results of the court trials that happened. I'm not going to give it away because you'll probably end up watching it, but it's incredible. It's incredible what happens with, when you have over a decade of sending these, young men and women to these areas over and over again. It just becomes, they become so desensitized to death and to gore and, what's right and wrong.
You get this apocalypse now scenario going on.
Yeah. They just don't care. They've seen it. Their buddies are blown up through IEDs and there's no one there to shoot. They get pissed off at everybody in country. And, they just, they're so, like I said, so desensitized to death that, and anybody's enemy. They just want to kill somebody. And they did.
It's got to be confusing. I mean, you don't know what the point of your mission really is. I mean, you're there to protect the people, to be a peacekeeper, an ambassador for the United States, really. And you're there to try to rebuild their economy, to eradicate the Taliban's power. But how can you do that when, the poppy production is just off the chains? It's never been higher.
I think
we now have
nobody's
even talking about the new secret reemergence of the U.S. footprint via Barack Obama. I mean, that's not even being talked about. Talk about things that don't last very long. Have you heard about Ebola? Nope, not this week. Nobody cares anymore.
No, I just saw a story where 1,000 people died in the last 2 days of Ebola.
No, but I mean the mainstream media coverage.
No, man. No. There's nothing. There is no news if it doesn't have to do with race war right now in this country. Right.
I mean, that's the new thing we have to worry about.
Yeah. But you talking about Afghanistan for a second there. And these kids not knowing what they're there for. They're ambassadors. They're rebuilding. They're making schools in some cases. But since 2001 we've been there. It was 13 years we've been there, and now I just saw I read a story before the program tonight where the Taliban's going to end up taking over Afghanistan again. Is the gist of it, unless we end up renewing combat operations there, just like we're about to renew combat operations in Iraq. I find it absolutely disgusting that, it was, matter of fact, I got it pulled up here, Doug Owen.
Okay.
Yeah, I pulled up, I might have got rid of it. All the times that Obama was saying no more troops in Iraq, or no combat troops in Iraq. And it was, August, September, October, repeating himself over and over again, no plans for U.S. troops in Iraq. And the day after the midterm election, he commits another 1,000 troops to go over, another 1,500 troops rather, bringing our number up to, I think, 3,000 plus in Iraq right now. Now the big plan is we're going to retake Mosul in January. So these... Yeah,
nobody's even talking about Hagel's exit. Okay, this is the guy that...
good point.
That I guess ruffled some feathers with his comments that weren't all that controversial or provocative on Israel, but just saying, pretty common sense stuff that, you got to be careful. And, they do garner a lot of attention for some of the things that they're doing in the West Bank and their expansionist ideas. Oh my God. Even though if you look at the UN and the EU and most of these, big major bodies of international globalism, they, do throw stones at Israel. But he's somebody who is not, I think has had a pretty balanced approach. And just right before the big melee of Ferguson news that is dominating, he slid out the side door. So many are saying this is because he's opposed to number one, he's not friends with Susan Rice. Well, who is? Maybe the people of the Brookings Institute and other financial backers of her plans.
CFRers love her.
Yeah. I mean, her dad's an academic and one of the curriculoids that has put together some of these.
Well, I like that. Say it again.
Curriculoid academics. Those wonks, people that have put together things like, classic neoliberalism. This whole idea of globalization. It's not about U.S. companies making money. It's about integrating economies and making it a safer world because it's too expensive to have war. See, you say, well, this is really just about allowing corporate sponsors that have paid for us to be in power, like Chevron, to get a payday in a place like in Ukraine. I mean, yeah, there's a payday for Chevron, and that's probably a big portion of it. And Joe Biden's son needs something to do because he's been kicked out of the Navy for snorting coke. All of that stuff is true. And yeah, we hate Vladimir Putin, and we were trying to isolate Russia. But when things come together, I mean, you have this consortium of people that are profiting, and that public and private, that are required for any kind of modern day revolution. So the idea is that you sell that as doing something that is in the best interest of the people and the population. Remember Madeleine Albright? I bring this up often. When she was asked about the 50,000 dead Iraqi children, was the price worth it for the invasion? She said, in her estimation, yes, it was. It was worth it, because we're freeing people. When you look at the result, the people have never been in all metrics, poorer, worse health. I mean, in the last 100 years, the people of Iraq have never been in a worse plight than they are today.
No, never. But probably in the history of the country.
But it was
the
worth
history
it.
of the region.
It was worth it. How many people have been killed in Ukraine now? Some estimates are upwards of. I've seen. Who knows? I mean,
the official estimates are about 4,000, I think, overall. But the unofficial, times 4 of that. So
right. So we say 4. It's probably been 40,000.
Well, and it goes on. It continues on, and naturally, that's not in the news at all.
No.
But they're still shelling the eastern side of Ukraine daily. The government in Kiev, and I'm sure Russia is still fomenting hostility with the Donetsk and Lugansk regions or republics. So that battle is the same as it's ever been. And there was a little talk of peace for a little bit, but that's all starting to fall apart. I think
nobody wants peace. Come on,
nobody wants peace. No,
nobody's buying that. Come on now.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I just had to blow my nose, Doug.
So it's not really it's not really neoliberalism, although, because I had this great debate with my boss, who is kind of a classic liberal. He's very well educated, very smart. I mean, he reads books. He reads the New Yorker. Not that makes you smart, but it means that you kind of read more witty stuff. It's propaganda for those that see past the bull crap on Fox News. Okay. Fox News isn't doing it for you. You went to the conspiracy site, and that was interesting. But you need something that seems more legitimate, that's a bit above. Then you go to the New Yorker, that kind of represents the bourgeoisie class. And so anyway, he's got very, very opinionated commentary, and he if you bring something up, he's got an opinion. And it's an informed opinion, whether you think it's crap or not. It is informed. And so I was talking about neoliberalism and the problem with globalization, and how that it doesn't work for everyone, and it like NAFTA, GATT, all these different treaties and frameworks that were quote unquote allegedly designed to bring jobs to this country and to help the people domestically. These things did not work, and it was done under the guise of neoliberalism. He said, Doug, let me tell you, the only reason that anything ever gets done or is not done in this planet right now today in this country and around the world is money. Okay, if there's no money in it, nobody's doing it. The Ebola vaccine, I mean, yeah, maybe if they can sell them to the government, but none of these big companies had any interest in creating it, because poor black people in Liberia just don't have the money to buy. They don't have the insurance companies that they can use to pad the costs of what that would be. They would have to buy it directly, or some humanitarian, the UN or some other, Bill Gates startup would have to, give you that cash for these vaccines. So there's just like no interest whatsoever.
I think he's right. I think he's 100% right.
Yeah.
There's no money in it, so they're not going to do it. If it became a pandemic and we had more than 3 people die in the United States from it, and it was spread across this country with the opportunity for profit, yeah, it would happen instantly.
No doubt about it. No doubt about it.
I want to talk. You know what? I'm looking at the time here, and we've been yakking for a little bit. We haven't even touched on Ferguson, and I want to. First of all, I did a couple videos last week about it, and then I think I said on Doomcast last week that there ain't no way that this guy is going to get an indictment against him. Officer Wilson is going to get an indictment against him, even though an indictment's something really super simple to get. But I wanted your take on a few things. One, I mean, did you think that they would go after him and hold him accountable, at least to the point of having a trial? And two, I watched that prosecutor. I don't know if you saw that when he came out what was it? He came out on Monday night and made this announcement, and the absolute disregard for the parents of this kid that was killed, the disregard for the safety of the public, the way it was announced, but the absolute egregious act of this state prosecutor who, in the 45 minutes he spoke, if you didn't know that he was a state prosecutor going into it, you would have thought it was a defense attorney for Officer Wilson. You'd have thought that his job was to get him off of an indictment, even though his job was exactly the opposite of that. He is supposed to be representing the people of Missouri, and if they're going after an indictment, he's supposed to break down to this jury what he specifically believes is probable cause to go forward to a trial. And when he came out, it was just, he was dogging the media, he was dogging the witnesses, and basically that all the physical evidence pointed exactly to what Wilson said happened. That's what went down, and there's going to be no indictment. And then they do it at 9:00 at night in Ferguson, which is,
they kept people waiting for days, waiting for this. Okay, everybody was gearing up. Okay, get ready. Nothing.
And then we'll do it at night. We'll do it at night when there's a crowd of people out there already protesting, where it's going to be the absolute perfect time for carnage to be unleashed, and that's exactly what happened. I mean, it was just either it was purposefully done so they could flex the National Guard muscle, 2,200 troops rolling in there, or flex the muscle of the St. Louis Police Department, who is in there with their bizarre looking up armored vehicles. Either it was purposely done that for shock and awe, or it was just complete incompetence in Missouri. Don't ever go to Missouri ever, because up armored vehicles, you'll end up if you're ever involved with their justice system, it's not going to be a pleasant experience, at least from what I've seen. Yeah, well,
no, it's not going to be a pleasant experience usually.
Well, I guess where would it be a pleasant experience? But
no. I mean, usually when you're being arrested or being touched by the state. Hey, if you go to the front page of Doomcast.com, you'll see that we have a new header image. We had to get rid of the Ebola out. No longer relevant, and we've got a new one that kind of I think illustrates exactly what we have in Ferguson. I railed about this morning on my podcast, and unfortunately, rather than giving good analysis on a lot of topics, I really just kind of ranted about the people that are victims in all of this. And I feel bad for the cops that are forced, or in the state what is it? The state. What's the word I'm looking for?
The Highway Patrol?
Not the Highway Patrol. The military.
The National Guard.
National Guard. I feel bad for these guys. That are probably just trying to get some college money, trying to subsidize probably a crappy job, or get some kind of skill set that have to go and engage this outraged public, because what you have is a lot of people that are peaceful protesters that just want to bring attention to the police state, that want to bring attention to injustice and want more accountability. Good luck with that, and not to say that you shouldn't ask for it, but very few times have we seen protests other than just huge ones in this country. And by that, I mean, like the Civil Rights Act and,
right.
The 60s and 70s. I mean, just utter, millions of people coming out for something that really had much impact, much change. So yeah, I never thought, I didn't know what, I thought that they may indict this guy if they had a good reason to, whether or not they did or did not. There were a few people on the jury or in the decision making, the grand jury that were black. Now there's lots of
3 of them, 3 of the 12.
Yeah, 25% of it, a quarter of them were. So it's not bad. It does say that that.
Well, then we'll never know. We'll never know.
But people have said that there's intimidation, that that there's all kinds of shenanigans, and
the prosecutor did an info dump on him. And what should have happened, and happens with prosecutors across, or state's attorneys across this nation, is they have a grand jury to see if they're going to have an indictment on an individual, and they'll look at the evidence. They'll say, okay, the prosecutor will say, okay, I think we can get involuntary manslaughter, so I'm going to push the information to this jury that supports the probable cause for involuntary manslaughter. And by his own admission, he just dumped 4,000 pages of evidence onto this jury with zero guidance, zero. He didn't come out and say, I want you to, I want you to push for first-degree murder, second-degree murder, manslaughter, involuntary manslaughter. He didn't do any of that. He just dumped all this information on him, and then basically threw his hands in the air, stepped back, and let them come up with the decision. And the commentary by lawyers across this country have been almost in lockstep, which is, it's unbelievable that he would do that kind of prosecuting as a state's attorney. His job is to look at the case and determine what he can do for the state, for the people, against this individual, against this potential crime. And it was really obvious that he had no intention whatsoever of pushing this jury, or at least presenting them a legitimate argument for a charge, a probable cause charge of, at the very least, involuntary manslaughter. But that's not what happened. He overloaded them with information, and they came back with and I also think that he helped, dissuade this jury by showing inconsistencies in witness testimony. At the end of the day, you have this jury that has all this information in front of them, and no guidance whatsoever from the state prosecutor, and they come back with and I don't know. I mean, I believe that it was worthy. I don't know if they would have ever found him guilty in a trial. I didn't think they were going to indict him, and I made that really clear. It was not going to happen. If James Boyd, who's camping in the foothills of Albuquerque, New Mexico, is shot down by a guy, Keith Sandy, who was fired from the New Mexico State Police for allegations of fraud, and then gets hired by the police department in Albuquerque, they promise he's never going to have a gun and a badge, but he does, and he ends up on this repeat offender task force, and they go kill James Boyd, a homeless guy that's a little bit schizophrenic, that has a camp knife in his hand. Yeah, has a camp knife in his hand, and they just waste him. If they could completely get away with that, then what happened to Michael Brown obviously wasn't going to end up in any kind of conviction of this cop. And, I hope that you had a chance, because, look, I remember I listened to frickin' Sean Hannity or Rush Limbaugh talking about how he beat the shit out of him, and he's got a broken orbital bone over his eye. It's all caved in. He was just pummeled on, and all this is going to come out. And then the pictures come out of him in the hospital immediately after the event. And I'm literally scanning through these pictures trying to, it looked like he was in a slap fight with a 12-year-old girl, right? There's hardly any marking or bruising or any indication that he was in an altercation at all. But the way he made it sound, and the way the state prosecutor made it sound, was he was a 5-year-old. This is his own words. I felt like I was a 5-year-old holding on to Hulk Hogan. And he just made it sound like he got pummeled. But the evidence doesn't prove that. I didn't. Did you look at these pictures by chance, Doug?
No. I hate to say this, but I really don't care. I'm just not. It's not that I don't think that there should be justice, but every day there are plenty of police officers that are killing people, and there are perfect example. There are hate crimes where black people target white people. You'll never see any of these crimes ever be put forward as hate crimes. for lots of reasons. One of which that there's people I've even heard more inflammatory statements from actual Congress people saying, well, black people can't be racist, and that's why there's no hate crimes against white people,
right?
And it proves to me that it's all politics, and most of it, I think, the prosecutor included. This is the thing: when you have people like L. Sharpton, when you have a situation where people are going to riot and they knew they would, and I think they probably would have rioted either way, because there were so many people there that were there for that purpose and that purpose only.
I agree with that.
But have completely, I think, molested all of the facts. And so you really, what happens is the trial's more about, people are more worried about whether or not we're going to have a riot rather than is this police officer guilty or innocent. I don't know. Yeah. Did he deserve to die? I don't know. I really don't know. And I think that, unfortunately, considering the circumstances, there's never going to be a fair trial for this police officer. He's just not going to get one, even if he goes to trial, because there's already this public perception. I don't think that he could get a fair trial in front of a jury, period, because of the incessant coverage and the insightfulness or the inciting.
Well, he's not going to have to worry about it now because there is no trial
and
coming.
Breaking news, he has now quit the police department. Ferguson police officer Darren Wilson resigns, hopes his resignation, quote, resignation will allow the community to heal. So this just came out a few moments ago.
They've been, that was announced.
And I hate this idea that you can just resign if you commit a criminal act, because that's what
his lawyer came out 2 days before this announcement from the grand jury saying that he's going to resign if he's found, if there's no indictment that's put against him. And then they've been negotiating for the last several days with the city of Ferguson to see how much pension he's going to get before he made his official announcement he's going to resign. And, he's talking about he's going to have to change his look, change his name and all that.
Yeah, the New York Times tweeted out his address. This guy's, he's a marked man. He's almost as marked as that guy that caught the baseball that determined the World Series.
World Series, yeah.
People wanted to kill him pretty bad. This guy may be second to that.
Well, and
maybe first.
You talk about, you say you just don't care about it, and
I just don't think it's that all. It's not unique. It's the only thing that makes this situation interesting and in a national story is because people are so upset about it. That's why the Albuquerque story is not that big of a deal. That's not getting national attention, and it's even more heinous. And we have videos of police officers assassinating people. So, yeah, when you want, if you want heinous,
that's my point, though, and that's why I do get worked up on these incidents, because we do see more and more. At least we're seeing more video. And it seems like it's on the increase. The police state, the expansion of the police state, and the knee-jerk reaction is always to grab the gun and shoot him down first. It seems like it's becoming more violent. It's more dangerous for the people of this country because of police, not because of violent crime. We talked about that a few shows ago. Violent crime is on the decrease, but the chances of you being killed by a cop is on the increase. And the guy in Albuquerque, this Tamar Rice, this 12-year-old boy in Cleveland. I hope you had a chance to see that video.
The kid with the BB gun?
Yeah, the kid with the BB gun, and how they immediately came out and said that they explained that he put it in his waistband, and they gave him the command to halt and put his hands in the air and lay down and all that. Well, the video comes out, and did you see this yet?
I did, yeah.
Hold on.
Yeah, and apparently his parents had told him that or whoever had called the police initially said that this was a BB gun. Yeah, it's a BB gun, and we just wanted to.
It's more than likely a fake gun. Well, in the video, they show him. It's a surveillance video of this park. He's playing in this Cadell Rec Center, and he sets his BB gun down on the picnic table, and this cop car rolls in, and as it's rolling in, he puts it in his waistband, and this cop car rolls in, and it's incredible how freaking close they roll into this kid. It's literally like 8 feet away from him. And as soon as that cop car stops, and it's instantaneous, the door opens, the kid falls. Literally within 1 second, he had a bullet in him from that cop car stopping. So the notion that this rookie cops gave him a chance to respond to his command is absolutely ludicrous. There was no time at all.
Do you know that these haven't been photoshopped, or they haven't taken some of the video out?
I know it was released by the police department in Cleveland, where I watched it. I mean, it was released.
Okay, so
from
you
them.
actually went to their website. I mean, a lot of times you get people that like to change.
No, it was an official Ohio website that I was looking at on. They'd released the tape of it, and then suspended this cop, him and the other one. The rookie did the shooting, but they put him on administrative leave. But the whole situation is, I mean. The whole thing could have been avoided just by pulling up on the sidewalk instead of driving into the park right where this kid is, opening the door and shooting him. I mean, the most disgusting part is if you watch this video and then watch or read the words of the deputy chief of police. His name is Tomba, Tomba, in Cleveland. His ultimate statement at the end of it, I mean, he talked about, we have to make quick reactions. We gave him a chance to get down. The command was given. At the end of it, he says, when we give a command, we expect it to be followed. And basically that was the whole, in a nutshell, why they could kill a 12-year-old, and it was okay because they gave him the command, and he didn't follow the command. He started reaching for. They
kill deaf people all the time, or take people that have autism.
Yeah,
wish this thing wasn't beeping at me. And they say, hey, you need to listen to my command, and they're like, no, he's deaf, and they're just like punching him in the head.
Yeah.
And so these
Obey.
things are. Yeah,
obey, bitches, or you're going down.
Yeah, it's not unique, and that's why. I mean, I don't know the circumstances. I'll be the first one to tell you that. And I've seen some commentary saying that the guy at the store never called the police. He didn't call the police, and he wasn't. Michael Brown had paid for the cigars. Now, here's the thing: is that true or not true? Just like my buddy's like, "Hey, did you see the picture of that cop? Of Darren Wilson?" And I said, "No." And he's like, "Oh yeah, his whole face is squished and blah blah blah." Come to find out, that was just a rumor on Facebook. That was a big.
That's right.
So I'm just so careful. I don't believe half of the things I see, even when I see them now. And even though we have more information than we've ever had. I don't know if it's helping people find out. Because, I mean, here's a perfect example. More people think that the police state is so out of control that they're killing more and more people than they ever have. Actually, violent crime, period, police officer on people on people is an all-time low. Okay, the perception is, you wouldn't know it. Most people think that crime is going up because we're giving our freedoms and our privacy to the government and handing over things that we used to hold dear because we have to do it in this age of massive violence where people are just killing one another. Right. And yet you're getting more information, but it's also skewing the reality, which is it's never been safer to leave your kids outside. It's never been safer to drive. I mean, accidents are at an all-time low in the last 20 years. People probably think people that are driving worse now that they're text messaging. And I'm one of those people, and you start realizing these perceptions that are given to you by the media are inaccurate, and we're freaking out about things that are, the only reason that you would want somebody to freak out about them is if you wanted to keep them in a constant state of fear. And so, when I see this and this whole, scenario playing out, this narrative playing out in the media, if you rob somebody, I don't care if you have a gun or not. You start roughing up a cop, even if you're only half roughing him up. Don't be surprised he shoots you in the face. I mean, you might not even have a gun, and there's a good chance he'll shoot you in the face. You might have a BB gun that's not even a real gun laying on a table 15 feet from you. Good chance he's going to shoot you in the face. We talked about this statistic that you're 8 times more likely to be killed by a police officer than a terrorist. But people are. They're so freaked out about ISIS. Guess what? There's beheadings happening just south of me every day. And these people, they don't censor out the beheading. They don't take it and cut to black and have some guy in Britain, do the Photoshop and send it to the Intel Center. They show you cutting off their nuts. They stick them in their face. They cut out their eyeballs. They mail them to their family. They chop them up into 50 pieces. And these guys are buying businesses in the U.S. It's no conspiracy. It's not ISIS is going to come through the border. MS-13 has a huge footprint in this country. They're setting forests in California on fire. It's a freaking big deal. We've destabilized the country. They're destabilizing and causing illegal immigration people are trying to flee this tyranny in South America. We don't hear shit about it on the TV. Nobody cares. And those people are so much more dangerous. They're not just pretending to hack people's heads off, and maybe they are doing it. There's no doubt about it. There's no, I don't know if that video is real. This is real. They really do it. They round up 43 kids, shoot them in the head because, they don't want them protesting. So when I see these things, I guess it's not that I don't care. It's just I put them in perspective compared to, all of the other stuff that is more scary.
Well, the obviously directly south of you, the corruption between the cartels and government is complete. And that's why those 43 kids went missing because, the husband was stepping down and the wife was stepping up to be corrupt politician in bed with the cartel. And, the students go to protest and they're suddenly missing. They're not found yet, are they?
Oh, they found a bunch of mass graves, and they've got the people there, and I think that I knew
they found mass graves, but I thought they'd all turned out to not be. It was other cartel mass murders. It wasn't whatever. It doesn't matter.
The government is the cartel.
These kids are dead. Let's just face it. They've been gone for weeks. They're dead.
Right.
And it's that corruption. And
here's the thing. How bad is it where you go to look for a mass grave and you just come upon 5 others?
5 of them.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no, that's another mass grave of 100 students from last year.
Yeah.
We never looked for them because there was no national attention on that. It's only minimal, but that's every day in Mexico. Mexico isn't 1,000 miles away from here. Mexico is a corrupt state that we have continually sponsored, and you would think that we'd be talking about overthrowing the Mexican government. Why don't we start funding the moderate farmers down there? Have you heard anybody saying, hey, let's arm the farmers, let's arm the local people, let's have CIA psychological evaluations of people like they're doing with the moderates? I was reading the new manual they've released for vetting the moderate Syrians, which, don't kid yourself. This is not okay, and it's not...
It's not okay. It's really, really not. You're 100% right. It's al-Nusra again. It's ISIS members again. And, there is no moderate. They're moderate as long as they're shaking hands with John McCain and about to get a big fat check.
Do you know how to use this MPAD? Do you know how to? Do you want to kill Bashar al-Assad? Do you?
Yes,
want
of course
jihad?
I do.
Okay, good deal. Here you go. Here's $1 million and a gun.
I will put a jihad on him.
Yeah. So I try not buying into the hype, or at least I think it's interesting because it
isn't just hype though, Owen. It isn't just hype to say that police brutality is on the rise in this country, because it is.
It's not. It's on the. It actually is. Your awareness is on the rise. That's the difference.
Yeah, my awareness is on the rise.
Because guess what? There were people 50 years ago that were going missing all the time in Louisiana, especially black people. And guess what? Nobody went looking for those bodies. Nobody cared.
I'm talking about police brutality, not individuals.
Well, think about this. The only reason that you see so many reports of police brutality is because everybody has a phone. Everybody has an instant video recorder, can put it on the cloud, can instantly encode it and put it on YouTube. The only reason you're seeing this video, because 50 years ago, cop shoots a kid with a BB gun. It's his word against the, he can make up whatever story he wants about it. He can say whatever. Those things just never came to light. They were never given the scrutiny that they're given today because we have this technology, because police departments across the nation are forcing, for a lot of reasons, police to wear body cams. So there's a lot.
But when you have a country that in the 70s where they were doing, SWAT was going out doing 200 to 300 of these knock and announce, kick in the door raids, and that 70s was 40 years ago. A couple hundred a year, and now it's 40,000 a year of these knock and announce, kick in the door raids. and then the increase of innocent people that have been determined to be innocent.
Oh, sure. No, yeah. I don't disagree with that, but I don't think that the police are any better or worse than they were 30 years ago or during the, I mean, if you even go farther back than that, I mean, we can look at, the fire departments in New York being a racket and, basically being, extortionists and arsonists. And, so I try to put it in perspective. Yeah, you're going to see the police state in that sense and the, this asset seizure stuff that we were talking about a few weeks ago, the 1033 program, all of these things, absolutely abhorrent. I vehemently oppose them. I think it's just, it's the worst thing because we have good cops doing the wrong things, and they're not doing what they should be doing, which is protecting us, protecting our property, and maintaining order. They are shopping and finding drug dealers or other people they think are committing crimes and basically targeting them for their stuff.
I think they're being trained as a them against us mentality. I really
absolutely.
believe that.
I was talking with Livy's, my wife's sister-in-law.
Don't ever say her doomer name again.
Yeah, I should not. But anyway, she was saying, I got to get home at the end of the night, and that's the way that you look at these things. And these people are all, police family type. And she's been a police officer in San Antonio for upwards of 20 years. And she'll tell you stories about some of these kids and, some of the stuff that she has to deal with and the people that she has to deal with and the scenarios. And, the fact that I said, police are, held to a higher account, because they are the ones that are, that have the ability to be the judge, jury, and executioner in many situations. And she said, absolutely. But, most people, even police officers, don't want to be put in that situation. I mean, yeah, there's just like, the general or the contractors and like you were talking about earlier that were enjoying the assassination of people and, basically, putting them in a kill blood sport. There are those people in police departments that do that. But there's a lot of people like her that, but it is an us versus them mentality. And the more people go out there and throw Molotov cocktails and set businesses and police cars on fire, the more they're going to feel that way. And I don't think that that's a conspiracy. That's just how it is. I mean, if you went out in your job and every day, I don't know, let's just say when you left your home, black people were rioting and they were throwing bricks at you. After a while, you start saying, man, these black people, they just always throwing bricks at me. I really hate these guys. They suck. Same thing for the cops. If you're always being targeted by, I don't know, people and you feel like you're always under this heavy scrutiny, they get into that same thing. So I'm not trying to, I'm not being an apologist for any of the things that they do. If you do a crime, you should be held to the highest cops above what others would face because of that, higher accountability. But, at the end of the day, they're people. What we see with that is they're representative of society. They are a representation of the body politic. They're just people. It's not like they're different than you or I.
You can pump up, the military does it all the time. They take 17, 18-year-olds and they turn them into killers. They do it in a 10 or 12 week time period and pump them up to, to think they're invincible and their job is to kill.
Sure.
And they'll do incredibly horrific things with that training. And I think that our police forces across the country, and I'm not saying that all police are bad. Of course, they're a lot of this is representative of our society. But there are a lot, I do believe this, Doug, that seek out that kind of thrill and that kind of a power and authority. And there are cops that go too far.
Sure.
I mean, and I don't think it's just a 1 or 2%. I mean, I think there's a lot of Keith Sandys out there who, abuse his position, abuse the authority that's given to him, and will have no problem killing somebody, right, wrong, or otherwise. I mean, and probably gets a charge out of it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's a certain segment of the population that are psychopaths, and that's why I think that really it's not about us versus them. It's just understanding that there are going to be a certain percentage of those people at your business office, in the police department, in government that you cannot trust that are psychopaths. And that's why you don't want to give them just too much power and impunity, because
which we've done,
which we have absolutely done, and glorified, heroified these people. I mean, there's this USAA commercial, and for you out there across the pond and who are unfamiliar, USAA is like a military insurance company. You have to be in the military to get USAA. But anyway, there's this commercial, and I hear it often on the radio, and it's like, he's like, I don't consider myself a hero, but I'm glad that you do. And it's like, no, I don't. I don't consider you my hero. You're not protecting my freedom of speech or any of the other crap that you claim, okay? So jump down off the high horse. It's one of the other reasons why I can't really even stand watching sports is because it just glorifies the police state and glorifies the military. Yeah. You used to have a seventh inning stretch in baseball games that you could go and get a beer, hang out, take a break, take a crap, come back. Now the whole thing is a huge tribute to the military, and they have.
Don't they sing "God Bless America" during that?
God bless. It used to be "Take Me Out to the Ball Game." Yeah. Take me out to the ball game.
I think they do both. Last time I was at a pro game, the Mariners, I think they did both. I think they sang "Taking Out the Ball Game" and then it went into this
America. Wait, I need my. Hold on, I got the thing. Well, I got my auto tune here. Hold on, I worked this up just in case I needed it.
Sing it.
America, America, God bless, boom, beep, doo, boop, beep. You ever hear those? You ever hear those people that mess up the Star Spangled Banner? Yeah. And they're just like
put in their own words.
Was
that supposed to have an effect on it? Because it sounded just normal.
This sounds normal to you. You don't hear that?
I don't hear it.
Oh, let's see. Let me see why. That's why I was playing with it with my buddy yesterday, and he didn't hear. But
it recorded?
See. Oh, yeah. I can hear it. I'm just wondering why I'm not sending you the FX. Let me see. Hold on. I feel like this is
pretty horrible.
This is out to PC. Let's see. Auxes, FX. Man, that's a bummer. Let's see. You're on the desktop.
Yes, I am. So
you get the desktop in, and you should be able to hear the FX, and you have them on you. But you don't hear me doing that one?
Nope.
Okay, tell me, do you hear this one?
I do.
Okay, so you hear this one, but you don't hear the auto-tune.
Nope.
How weird is that? Let's see.
It's pretty weird.
Let's see. Did I do something
Big
stupid?
Big banks fear Swiss citizens will vote to reback.
They want their gold back. We want it back. We don't trust you, America.
That's a vote's coming tomorrow. For those of you who don't know, Switzerland is debating taking the reserves, which they have $500 billion in reserves, and instead of having 5% in gold, they're thinking of taking it to 20% in gold. And this has got a lot of people thinking gold is about to, and there has been some movement to the upside in gold. So a lot of people think that they're going to pass this, and we'll see gold start to skyrocket again. But here's my warning, folks.
So now it's not managed. Now it's different than it used to be? That something's changed? Somebody else is keeping tabs and deciding what gold and silver's worth? Because I saw all the racket about the metals manipulation. Yes, they've been manipulating LIBOR and manipulating the FX markets, the foreign exchanges. But they're paying a few $1 billion, but I don't think anything's changed. Am I?
No. You're right.
Wrong?
Nothing's changed. And it doesn't, for the gold.
So my question always is then what changes for the people, the powers that be, why are they going to now, they're going to now do this and let this happen? Is it because
they're not going to let it happen? It's not going to happen. It's going to get voted down tomorrow. It's going to be another Scotland vote where it's a fictitious vote, a fantasy vote. And the central banks and the banksters, even in Switzerland, do not want this 20% back gold. They think it'll hurt their economy because they can't float it, And if this passes, not only will they have to go from 5 to 20% of their holdings or their surplus has to be in gold, but all the gold that they own around the world has to be repatriated back to Switzerland, and all has to be kept in the borders of Switzerland. And the thought is, if it passed, you would see the gold market spike because they're going to be trying to capture 1,500 metric tons in just a few years of gold, plus the people that are holding the reserves, which is everywhere from England to Canada, there's none in the U.S., I believe, have to come up with the actual physical and get it back to Switzerland. So this ain't going to happen. I mean, I've had a lot of folks in the gold guys send me emails on it saying, watch out for this vote Sunday. Gold's going to go through the roof. And I've just answered back saying, it ain't going to happen. Forget about it. They're not going to let this occur. And if you look at the polls from the people of Switzerland, it points to that. I mean, I think that's 34% approval versus, whatever, 40 plus percent that are going to vote no on it. But it's an interesting story. The gold folks love it.
Right. Because, they're selling gold. Yeah, well, I've been thinking about buying silver. Let me go to Kitco right now because I keep thinking, oh man, it's so low. Is it going to? Remember we talked about this a few Doomcast ago.
Yeah.
Is it going to shoot through the roof? Are we going to find gold?
I think it will. I just don't. I don't know if it's going to go lower first.
Kitco just shot me a dang pop up. FEMA after your food. What are they hiding? Video reveals shocking plot.
Watch this video before they take it down again.
Before they take. Yeah, I've heard a lot of those on the mainstream media now that are, let's see, where's silver? I got to go through all this crap just to find a chot gold. Let me see. Let's see what we can buy it for. That's what really matters, the going rate. Because gold, you can buy paper silver at whatever price they want to sell it. But how much is an ounce? Let's see.
I had Gabe on the other day.
About 1828, 1890. If you buy in bulk, you can probably get a better deal than that. Let's see. Yeah. American Silver Eagle, 1 ounce. If you buy 20 plus, 1917 delivered from Kitco from Kitco. So, and you can go and get a silver leaf for.
Well, Austin Coin, Gabe at Austin Coin was on, and he sells a lot. I mean, a lot of precious metals.
Hey, this isn't a native advertisement, right? We're not selling gold, are we?
No, we're not selling.
I want some money from Gabe. Okay.
This is just a talking about the spot versus physical, and there's always a discrepancy. You're always going to pay more over spot. You're going to pay over spot for your silver or your gold. But he's talking about this shellacking silver and gold's taken over the last several months versus what he can get his hands on. He was talking that. They're paying like $5-6 over spot for silver just to get it, and the actual physical being there or not, I don't know because I haven't checked into it recently. I'm just going by what I'm being told by Gabe, who is pretty much spot on every time.
We can't get it. People buy more. I've been hearing that for a long time. I don't know if it's true, and I don't know what the demand is and what people are actually paying, but. I always hear that is part of the pitch. I don't know Gabe, and I'm not going to disparage him. He's probably a great guy that's doing a great service, and I should buy some coins from him. If I'm going to buy him, I could buy him local and save the shipping, and he'd probably give me a good deal. So it's not to talk crap about it, but it's always this, I can't get the physical metal. That's I don't want to. Well,
but when you're looking at 1568 spot
right
for silver right now, and a $3 premium is pretty damn high.
Right.
I mean, that is that there shows that, getting physical is different than what the spot price is going to tell you. And I remember buying silver when it was spot was $8.50 an ounce, and
oh yeah, me too.
And the cost over was only like 50 cents, maybe 75 cents over spot to get it. And now, I mean, if it's $15.58 and you're seeing it for $18-19. That's a pretty good spread.
Yeah, and this is the thing that people. It's a good hedge, but the people that are selling it to you, just remember this: if they weren't making money, if there wasn't money to be made, if selling silver, if they thought that the dollar was going to crash tomorrow and that silver would save them, then they wouldn't sell it to you. So that being said,
I don't know about that. You know what?
Okay, so you think okay, I'm just Joe Blow gold dealer, right? Yeah. And I've got, let's say, 1,000 ounces of gold, okay? Yeah. And I think that, I don't know, a month from now, that the dollar is going to completely crash and that my gold is going to be worth 10 times what it's paying me today or what it's worth, what I bought it for. And who knows what you bought it at. Do you think I would sell it?
If your business was selling precious metals,
no, I'm saying that if I think that next month the economy is going to blow up and that the gold I have now is going to be worth more than what I would make more money keeping it than selling it to you. Okay, I think the price is going up. Would I sell it to you? Absolutely not.
Wait a minute. If you're Doug Owen, private collector of gold...
No. I'm saying is that if I'm a dealer, okay, and if tomorrow, or let's say in the very near future, I believe that it's going to be worth 10 times, 100 times, 1,000 times more than what it's worth today, I would not sell it.
If you knew that was going to happen, of course not. But
so what I'm saying is that when you hear people tell you that...
You talk about it like it's almost a scam, and everything is that way.
It's not a scam. It's that...
If you're investing in your 401k, or if you're investing in stocks, or if you're investing in a dog and car wash...
it's not that it's a scam. It's a business. It's a business, and the reason that they're selling it to you is because they're making money. But
I've never heard you talk about that when it comes to your 401k or your other.
Well, most of the time, paper. You have to put into the 401k or something like that. I don't know if you know.
Yeah, but wait a minute. You're giving your money to somebody who's making money on you. The guy who's managing your company's 401k isn't doing it for free.
Right, but he's not selling me a product and he's not telling me that, guess what, if you give me this money, next week it's going to be worth 10 times as much. He's saying that in 30 years, if the market performs blah, 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 maybe. You know what?
That's delusional. I've had them sit in and tell us.
I've never heard anybody tell me that
a
401k is a good investment, maybe in the long term.
Seriously?
No,
seriously, I've had him sit through in front of our 100 employees and talk about the 2008, 2009 lows and where we're at now, and how these a lot of these have doubled. These portfolios have doubled in worth, and they're pumping it. They want, that's how they make their money. The more money that you put into your 401k, the more commission they make, the more that goes into their pocket. The same thing goes with Gabe or any other.
So what you're saying is they're all just scams.
No, I'm not. I'm not at all. They're all there.
You're making a bad point here, Charlie.
Listen. They're like
the business is taking money out of your pocket and putting it into theirs. Period.
That's every business.
Right.
That's every business.
Right. Exactly.
But you're making the gold and silver guys seem kind of evil.
I'm not making them seem evil. I'm saying that you can't buy the hype, okay? Because that's what they sell is the hype. That's what the whole gold market and people that are into it are.
The difference being the hype when you give into stock or mutual funds or 401k.
Sure,
or whatever.
That's hype too.
That's hype. That's paper. And if you're buying the hype in metal,
okay. Well, here's a good example. Okay, if you bought Apple, or let's say you bought Google stock. Okay, you did really, really, really when it was during the IPO. You did really well. Okay, now if you bought gold when it was at $200 an ounce, you did really, really well. If you bought gold last year, or the year before, or the year before that, okay, you're hoping that something you're just looking. You're talking about it, the hype on the internet. You're hoping that you are going to make some money. And the thing is that most of those people, they continue to fall into the logical fallacy is they believe that their gold is either gaining or losing value when it's really just a hedge, or not a hedge, but really just it's a benchmark against the dollar. Whether your dollar's stronger, the purchasing power is higher or lower at that time. Your physical gold never changes, and what it might buy in some new currency or whatever, if that happens, and that's one of the angles. I'm just saying that people that buy gold and silver thinking that they're going to make money and that buy it because they believe the value is going to go up in dollars are often deeply disappointed, because what happened was there was a lot of people that bought in when that huge, the huge rise, when you saw, silver triple, quadruple, and they're like, hey, see, I was so prophetic. It's never going to go back down. It's going to be $100. I hear this every year. How many times have you heard Max Kaiser say $2,000 gold in 2014, $2,000 gold in 2013, $4,000 gold in 2011? I've listened to it forever and ever, and I listen to the commercials telling me that this is the best thing. I'll be honest. If you'd bought a gold IRA and you thought it was going to perform over the last 4 or 5 years, you would have been better off with Bitcoin. You would have been better off with buying pork bellies.
I think if you're going into it thinking you're about to hit a home run,
that's what people sell, though.
Yeah, but that's certainly not what any other reputable
No, but the whole community that surrounds it constantly puts out disinfo and hype in the hopes that because I think it's not that people are so dishonest, they just really want something to happen and they're just like, let's make it happen. Come on. They just get on the bandwagon with it just because they want to will that into fruition. I want to see $3,000 gold because I have a bunch of ounces. Point being is that it doesn't always pan out, and that's not to say that I don't buy gold and silver. I'm actually very interested in it, but not because of the hype. But at the same time, when you're looking at your real payday, don't be fooled into thinking that you're going to get returns from gold and silver that are not completely managed. I mean, that's the difference, is that yes, we are seeing how manipulated it's been. It's always been, and as long as there's some guy somewhere or some
if
bank.
If you're going into it with that perspective that you're going to
the dollar's doomed, it's coming down tomorrow. Buy the gold now, people.
But there's a lot of banks and there's a lot of governments that are doing just that.
Sure,
but it isn't to they're not. If you're going to buy it to think you're going to quadruple your money overnight, and you're still thinking in terms of of an investment like you would a stock or mortgage-backed securities or some other kind of risky investment that's going to make you huge dividends or pay off, hit a home run right before it collapses and crashes again, then you're probably not in metal for the right reason, it's never been sold. It's never been sold as that. It's always a protection of wealth.
Right, because you need to protect it because the government is printing too much and the fiat currencies always fail, and at some point the dollar is going to be worth nothing and your gold is going to be worth $1 million an ounce. That's the pitch. That's always the pitch. I mean, have you not listened to alternative media? Have you not listened to all of the gold bug commercials? Sure. Be prepared for the next time the crash comes.
Yeah. It's the same thing I hear about Berkey water filters. It's the same thing I hear about.
Right, I use a Berkey too. Right, and you know what? I've got a garage full of storable food, and guess what? It's only going to be good for another couple years, and I'm either going to buy some more, or I'm going to sit around and eat storable food for a year, and
for a year,
or I've got a bunch, or I'm going to throw it in the trash as soon as the bull weevils get into it. One thing that you can invest in that is always going to pay high dividends, the return is obvious.
Is it oil, Doug Owen? It isn't oil, is it?
It is Doomcast, this show.
Oh, there you go.
And I want to thank Miss Sarah. We've given out her name before, but let's not do it again. You know where she's from. She's from Sarah K. She is the big sponsor this week with $75. She has a message.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, pretty impressive. This year, I'm thankful for Doug, Charlie, and producer Craig. Thank you guys for all your hard work in trying to snap people back to reality. Enjoy the ham and turkey. And I did. So thank you, Sarah, so much. I had a few others, but I don't know if they were even... Some of them come in with... I had one that didn't even have a real email address, and you're like, I don't know. But Philip, I want to thank you for $10, and I tried to email you to thank you to see if you had a note, and... You did not, but you went through the Doomcast.com domain, so maybe you like the Doomcast. If not, thank you anyway.
That is awesome. Thank you. Was it Philip?
Yes.
Thank you, Philip. And
thank you, Philip.
They must be all going through the link there, or I don't know where, because I don't have any.
Oh, well, I just have that one. But, it was definitely for Doomcast. Obviously, Sarah, because the note says that she's thankful for us. And producer Craig, who's probably the hardest working guy that doesn't get the recognition for all of the gold, the straight good gold that he delivers in the table of contents. So when we talk about videos, it might take him a few days, but he always gets them up there. So be sure. Yeah, he has to vet the things that we ramble about. Did you see that one thing, that guy that was named that thing? And he texted.
We ought to make it easy on him and plan the first 2 minutes of just hilarious banter, so we can just pull that for the
mix up.
The mix up, because I do feel bad for him. He's got to go through it. He's out killing coyotes right now, I think.
He was listening. He said the stream died, so maybe he took a break from killing the coyotes. Yeah, I sent all of you pictures to prove that I am a faux hunter. I helped people clean their deers. I didn't shoot any this year, but
You sent that picture of that dog.
That was not a dog. That is a freaking deer. That is a white-tailed deer, and
it's not a white-tailed deer. It's a dog. It was a German Shepherd. It was smaller than a German Shepherd.
Chupacabra.
It is a chupacabra. Doug Owen, oil. I know we need to wrap up, but I want to talk about this a little bit because going into 2015, I know that Ferguson's a hot button issue right now.
Right.
Released just in time to cover any squeals that were going on about executive orders and amnesty. That blasted out of the news instantly on Monday. But economically speaking, I think 2015 is going to be a rough year. I mean, all these indicators of margin debt that is out of control, the banks that are doing the same kind of thing they were doing in 2008, right before September. They were doing this in the summer of 2008. All these indicators that people like Michael Snyder look at every day, economist Michael Snyder of the Economic Collapse blog. 3 of 10 of the 10 of the largest economies in the world now officially in recession. Oil at $66 a barrel. I saw a story today.
How about that?
Yeah, well, the writer was trying to spin this as a good thing for our economy because we're going to be paying less for gas, which might be the case, but it's a real key indicator of how the global economy is slowing down. And there's a glut of oil by 700,000 barrels a day that is not being purchased. It's not being used. And so I think we might see, talk about gold and silver falling. Well, so were some other commodities.
Well, there's the relationship between oil and gold. And when oil goes down, gold goes down, silver goes down, usually.
And it unlike gold and silver, I don't think you could use them as a metric of the economy. You could, but oil you most certainly can. And seeing that in the high 60s and promising to go lower is a warning sign that we all need to look out for, in the coming months ahead. And the last thing I want to say is, did you see the article about 2.5 million children in this country right now are homeless? Did you see that?
2.5 million homeless or have been homeless within the last year?
No, are currently homeless.
Currently homeless. Let me look it up. Let's see. 2.5 million should be a pretty easy number to look up.
2.5 million homeless kids. I think you can do that.
That is appalling. 2.5 homeless.
5 mil homeless.
Where the nation's 2.5 million homeless children live. I don't know. I see there's a comprehensive report from homelesschildrenamerica.org. This came out today or what? Let's see. This is from the 17th. This is, I hadn't seen this. It's pretty sad. It wouldn't shock me when you look at the population and the percentage there. What is that? 10% of children that are in poverty.
Yeah.
It's.
I just noticed. I've just noticed this fall, especially. The amount of homeless here where I'm at in Bozeman, Montana. The amount of homeless here is quadrupled in the last 3 years. And there's a lot of kids that are homeless that are going to school every day, and that's their foundation. They know they can go there and get a meal and stay warm for 6 hours, 8 hours a day. But speaking of pop-up ads, here I go. I'm on this, and I got a sports ad pop up here. That's awesome.
Go away, Jim Rome. We don't care.
Yeah, but and I don't know the metric. I didn't dig into this to see. Are they living with their aunt? Or
even Yeah, I mean, even if it's half of that or triple that, either way, it's really, really pretty sad. I mean, you have a lot more people than you had yesterday, but there's a lot less jobs. And you look at the people that are subsidiaries of the government, or subservient rather to the government, for at least some kind of penny. It's off the charts, and we're seeing what happens, the results of lots of corporate welfare, corporate socialism, and you and all of the other people out there having to suffer in the free market. So, we're giving lots of money to the wrong people. The people that are too big to fail are not the children, which, as Stevie Wonder taught us, or should have taught us, the children are the future. Let them lead the way. Pretty sorry stuff, but...
Why don't you sing it with your cool sound effects?
Let me see. I could do it. I'm shocked that you don't hear this thing, though. You don't hear anything. Doesn't sound a little different?
I heard the one you did, the echo.
Yeah, see. Feed the children of the future. Teach them well and let them lead the way. Show them all the beauty they possess inside. None of that? You're not getting
Don't ever do that again.
I'm telling you, I sound really good.
Don't ever do that again.
No, but with the auto-tune, I sound really, really good. So,
well, too bad I can't hear it.
I'm telling you, you'll have to listen to the podcast.
I'm going to have to. Is it going to record on that? I pray to God it does for our listeners' sake.
Yeah, because they would be very upset, I'm sure, if it had not. Let's see. Where's that button? I've got all the buttons here. I've got too many of them. Charlie McGrath. This is the one I want right here.
Durka. Am I wrapping it up?
You are, my friend.
My name is Charlie McGrath. I am the founder of WideAwakeNews.com. Doug Owen is my co-founder of this program, Doomcast. His website is blacklistednews.com. You can contact me at info@wideawakenews.com. Doug, you can contact at doug@blacklistednews.com. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in to Doomcast number 68. Please visit our site and look at some of the hard work producer Craig is doing. Doomcast.com. We'll be back next week for Doomcast 69er. Yeah.